You were not designed to perform your truth. You were actually designed to resonate it. I know many of us are living under constant pressure, hustle to maintain our identity, to prove ourselves to fit in. And today in this video, I'm going to guide you to leave that behind you and live from your true frequency. That's right, your real signal, not from somebody else's ideals and understanding of what you should or should not be, but your own vibration. Hey there, beautiful souls and luminous souls and radiant souls and all the souls. Welcome back to another Mindful Monday. That's right. I'm your host, your girl, Erica Trimnell, also known as the Mindful Mistress. I'm here to help you in the most unusual way. No, changing your perspective, helping you to see maybe blind spots that you didn't realize were there. I'm all about sovereign frequency today. And at Prism Vibes, I want you to know that we do not define healing as just a release and a linear process. It's more about authenticity and embodying it through energetic coherence. So today we are going to unpack how to stop performing who you are and how you can just start living in your own authentic truth and frequency. That's right, your own signal. So today it's about frequency. And again, we are double tapping on vibrational awareness and, of course, vibrational intelligence, if I were to use my French. I know that was terrible, but anywho, so it's a frequency of actual coherence. Coherence where your soul, your body, your voice all sing in a harmonic alignment as one, more like a unity. When you are in an energetic coherent state, your actions, your words, your patterns, your presence all feel aligned, like a sturdy tree with very not just deep roots, but the roots that actually spread out. You are no longer shaped by who's watching you, what their expectations are, but you are shaped by who you were designed to be from the get-go. But unfortunately, most of us have been taught to blend in, to fit in, because it creates a sense of safety versus standing out. So in that, we've seen ourselves or felt ourselves perform who we think we're meant to be versus act from a place and space of true authenticity, I should actually say. Pardon me, I have a list if you have not noticed. And those of you who are new, I have a little bit of a list. So sometimes things come out a little bit skewed, but you know where my heart is. So to this point, we might seek external validation because that feels more reliable as we search for things outside of ourselves. Now, there's no judgment here with this because honestly, in a lot of our cultures and society, that's the running narrative, that to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be X, Y, and Z, you've got to go out. But those of us who know who's read any almost spiritual book, it's really about that hero's journey where you realize that the validation is within yourself. It's something that you already have, and it's a more reliable sense of self-worth. That's how you get and garner your peace and trust. So authenticity isn't just about the permission to be you. It really is the permission to vibrate you, to vibrate your true authentic signal. We talk about coming back to home, all of those things, fill in the blank as it is appropriate to, your own vocabulary and your own understanding of that. So let's talk about the cost of performing. Performing in the vein of thinking you're authentic, but you're really not. When we try so hard to, let's say, look spiritual, look woke, look polished on the outside, we aren't we are not resonating, we are performing. And performance is the polar opposite of actually being present. And when I say present, I mean present in our mind, body, spirit, soul, energy, frequency, aura, present, period. However you want to put that. And so what it can look like, it's like you're singing a song you've never felt. You know the words. The words are beautiful. It's a beautiful song. But your voice lacks the true warmth. You're afraid of being judged, that you tighten your energy, you maybe even constrict yourself. So the message sounds perfect, but your soul stays hidden. It's like an empty, hollow shell. That voice, it's not yours. It's your safe version. It's the smaller version. It's the designer version that's designed to be liked and accepted and more palatable, but it's not you. It's not authentically you. It could be like you're on autopilot. So the performance it just comes with the script. Like, so today I want to share. And as you know, energy is so important. So when we get into this mode where we are repeating a script that we've probably said 100,000 times, it takes us away from that presence. But again, it could be on autopilot. So if you, if you said it every day and you repeated those exact same phrases every single day, even worse, you might have even felt stuck or trapped in them. Like, that is your story that you have to keep repeating. You keep performing, and the more you perform this story, the more you get disconnected from who you actually are. Whether it's the small little jokes, the little nuances, the pause, the breath, who you are gets lost. Your color gets lost, your frequency gets lost, the essence of you gets lost in that when we perform. Resistance still shows up. So even with this perfect polished performance, people, especially people who do resonate, feel a lack of authenticity. Now, that might sound like you, that might resonate with you. It's like, I don't know, smelling a perfume that does not match the person. We've all been there. I've got a few upstairs that do not match. They don't align with my body chemistry. So something feels off, something smells off, and that resistance arises. Comments about, how it can feel like a dissonance is happening. Maybe followers nod, but your energy isn't really landing. You aren't really getting your message across. It becomes this really emptiness. And to that point, you have this energy drain as well. When we are performing, the energy is actually the thief. It's stealing from both the speaker and the listener as well. Think about that. You are exhausting yourself doing all of this, hey, kind of thing, doing the performance, trying to make them think one way, because you've been programmed to do this to make them think one way. And, did I even get it right? Did I pause when I was supposed to pause? Did I, shimmy like I was supposed to shimmy? All of these things that we may not be consciously thinking of show up in that voice sometimes, even afterwards. Did I do this right? Or gosh, what were they thinking when I did this? Well, hopefully because I wanted to sound spiritual, that what I said like really resonate. And you might start seeing some signs like, oh, this is working. You've gained more connections. Maybe if this is social media, you gain more followers, but your light actually dims, your spark dims, because each performance then becomes just a sentence, just becomes an emotional taxing experience, because you aren't showing up as your authentic self. You are not sharing your true story. You are sharing a version of yourself that you think might actually be more palatable or better or whatever. Fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. So, you know, when we're polishing, you aren't your authentic self, and polishing really adds layers. It's like that protection. Polishing, you can think of it as I think like a spiritual ego. Polishing adds those layers between you and your truth. Think like you're putting on a layer of wax on a car because you want to polish a car. It's adding additional layers between the environment and the, let's say, the hood of the car, the paint, right? So instead of this like vibrational clarity, you start you start having this like muffledness. You aren't really clear on who you are because you're doing the things and saying the things that aren't in alignment with you. So over time, if anyone knows, you have to, like, bringing back the car metaphor, you have to keep waxing and waxing, but over time, that's because things happen that erode that. Now, in our instance, we want the erosion so that we can show our authentic self. As far as the car, you probably want to keep waxing it. But just to give you like a visualization of what authenticity does, like, let's say that maybe muffles the beautiful, maybe you miss some of the, I don't know, the specks that could be in the paint job. Like, you've got a candy paint job and you could be missing it, right? Thinking of it from that perspective. So presence, when you're fully present and authentic, your presence then becomes magnetic and you start drawing in things that resonate with your higher self. So maybe here we take a pause and we ask ourselves, thinking of a situation, bring a situation to mind and ask yourself, am I performing the message, or am I truly embodying the message? Are you here? Are you present with us? Or are you performing for us? Does what I share actually carry resonance in my mind, my body, my breath, my muscles, in every single cell? Because we all know those things that we say that are very superficial. They aren't really an extension of every cell of our being. That that is an indicator that this is a polished idea. This is a non-authentic to ourselves idea, our message, or whatever that is. And when you are able to connect with your authentic vibration, you lead in a different way where you don't need that vibration, or you don't need that validation is what I want to say. And the world feels you. It feels you, like, feels you. It's not, and sometimes it's not the message. Like, the message could be crap, but people just sense your vibration. They sense your authenticity. They sense your energy. And they're just like, man, that guy, like, he's got it. Whatever he's doing, let me sign up. Let me be his friend. Let me be his partner, XYZ. Versus you performing and you've got that hollowness. You aren't attracting anything because there's nothing in the core to attract. It's this performance, this shallow performance that isn't magnetizing what it is you want. It isn't carrying your true vibration, your true authenticity. So, some ways that you can tell whether or not you are authentic, you are living in your own truth, your own frequency, are show up in a multitude of ways. So it can look like, again, we kind of know sometimes when we're performing, sometimes we don't know when we're performing, but it can come through as burnout. It can come through as confusion. It could come through as disconnection could kick in. These are some key identifiers on how you are connected to your own energy, your own frequency, how you know you are out of alignment, you need to retune or align. To this point, you might start sensing some fatigue, or you sense some tension or some dissonance, when you should be in places or spaces that are of ease. So this could be like you say yes to a collaboration that sounds great on paper, but your shoulders are heavy because you feel the weight of it. This doesn't really align with your message, your brand, your dreams, your goal. So it's you create this energetic dissonance that happens when you say yes to opportunities because you're basically you're doing this out of performance versus being present with who you are. Now, this could be like the voice in your head asking, am I enough? Even after you spoke your truth. So, how this could show up is if you finally share that vulnerable post on social media. And logically, it was so powerful. I know I've done this, where I'm like, man, this is gonna go viral. And then, like, after you post it, 5 minutes in there, 5 minutes later, you're doom scrolling and realize they didn't really hit. It did not hit. You thought you brought yourself to the table, you were emotional, and then you might afterwards start thinking, gosh, well, did I give too much? Was I too open, or was I too vulnerable? What are people thinking? That mental static is a sign that you spoke probably from a wound and not actual resonance, because you would be solid and grounded in that particular action, just to use that. So when you are repeatedly overthinking, overcommitting, rationalizing, or the justification, that nagging feeling of not quite there yet, maybe it comes across as perfectionism for some. That rings a bell. Let's say you tell someone yes to a request, and then you spend the next few days explaining why you said yes to yourself. You ever done that? I know I have. I said yes, and I was like, gosh, well, it was a really good thing, and she was so nice. And next thing you're rationalizing, and you are maybe setting aside, whether it's routine or things that actually fill and fuel your soul. Maybe you let go of your self-care to do this particular task because you've been performing. This is what you thought you should have been doing. And beneath all of that, it really goes back to that. Again, we talked about it last week, and I think the week before. It's that self-betrayal. That's what it all comes down to when we aren't operating in our authentic self, in our own frequency. It is this self-betrayal. So you have the energetic boundaries that you were not able to keep because you chose connecting with a version of yourself that's not even real. It's a fake version. But we've all bought into that lie, that game. It's, be grateful, right? You're watching this video and you now have the awareness that you didn't have before. No judgment. Another thing is it could be a mismatch between your internal clarity and your outer actions. Now, I don't know about you, but this definitely hits home for me. So you can feel a call to slow down things, maybe even stop, take a rest. But instead, what do? That's right. We're like, hey, guess what? I've got a new offering that I'm going to have. Now's the time for me to do XYZ. I'm just going to go harder. And typically those things end up falling flat. And that's because there wasn't that authentic and energetic alignment. And the worst part, I know for me, I sometimes then resented myself or resented, like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't they sign up? I promoted it, I did all of the things, but knowing there was a misalignment, because this was the period where I was supposed to be in solitude. This was a period when I was supposed to be resting. This was a period where maybe I'm supposed to be connecting with my family. So this misalignment, don't look at it as a failure, but just look at it as a redirection, or your vibrational body begging for you to recalibrate itself because you should have taken the time to listen, right? We talked about body signals last time. Listen and honor the moment of rest. I get it. We are constantly programmed that hustle is the way to go, but it isn't. Rest is resistance. Sometimes you need to rest so that you can take that huge leap. You can do that big project that has been calling you to do. You know, at the end of the day, you don't find true alignment by chasing clarity through actions outside of yourself. You find true alignment by attuning to your own energetic frequency and letting your frequency be seen. So thinking about all of the things that I have done to cover up, to muck up the beautiful frequency that is myself. And you can ask yourself, well, maybe that's why you should feel into things first before moving. Leveraging our body cues, not move and then feel into it. Because then that technically, I don't know about you, but for me, that typically is like, oh, yeah, I knew I should have said no. I didn't. So again, I get it, I understand, but just wanted to give you a different perspective and a different understanding of authenticity and its connection to our vibration and what happens when we force things, when we are polishing and performing versus just being. So some ways that you can recalibrate so you stop performing and really just start resonating is leading with your own frequency. And how to do that are just check-ins. We've got to build that awareness within ourselves to understand when we are operating within our frequency, when we're resonating, or when we are performing. Are we performing or are we present? So this could be like a morning ritual that you do to check in. Again, use your tools, the voice notes, your journal, all the things. Maybe it's a meditation, doing some coherent hand on heart, solar plex. Ask yourself the question, how do I feel in myself today, in my center? How is my vibration? How is my energy? Acknowledge what are things that are your guidance system. Is it your intuition you're leveraging? My little one, you see, she decided she wanted to pop into this conversation. Taking grounding breaks, taking small moments in the day to ground yourself, to ground your energy, whether it's through breath work, whether it's through somatics, whether it's through, sound therapy, vibrational therapy, having those moments to ground back into yourself so that you get really clear on what your frequency sounds like. So you're able to discern it amongst the crowd and amongst the noise, amongst the static. Those are ways that you can really recalibrate yourself so that you know what is true for you versus what people have made true in your life. Now, how this is impactful and how this shows up. There was a time in my life where I performed. I performed because I thought that's what we're supposed to do. I performed because that's what my trauma taught me to do, is to be safe, is to perform to other people's expectation. And in doing this, I missed opportunities. I felt disconnected. I suffered through depression because of this. So this is how this can manifest and what this can look like. And when I realized that I had sovereignty, that I could have sovereignty, that I could choose that versus choosing other people's pleasure over my own pleasure, over the own vision and goals that I had for my life, then that's when liberation happened for me. When I was able to step into my own authentic voice, when I was able to connect with people on a level that I didn't even know existed. That's the other thing that happens when you move from a place of authenticity. When you move from a place of just deep knowing and an understanding of who you are, you connect with people so much more deeper, and it's this soul connection. It's completely different than the way we connect superficially and when we are performing, even though we think that, okay, because when we perform, we build this connection and then I have all these friends and, XYZ. But when you are authentic, and those authentic connections are so much deeper, better, richer, supportive, all of the adjectives that I, could leverage, you understand, and you then start moving from a place and space of authenticity versus uh performance. But that takes time, especially those of us who have had a traumatic childhood and we're learning to reparent ourselves, and what healthy, safe, authentic relationships actually look like. So from the standpoint of science, we've talked about, the vagus nerve system. When it gets regulated, you can actually feel safe in your skin. You can feel safe to be authentic. You can stay online in the prefrontal cortex and make decisions versus using the amygdala, who operates through fear and just having reactions. And so you are no longer in that cycle. You're no longer forcing what doesn't fit. You're no longer putting a square peg in a round hole. So that's the science that really backs up why living in our authentic self is better, right? Or I don't say better. Let's not use good and bad. Why living in your authentic self just hits different because it resonates. It resonates with who you are at your core and at your center. Not saying that, performing is a bad way to be. People certainly live their lives and perform the entire time and end up having, good lives. It just hits different when you connect with people from an authentic level. And those who know. So tuning into yourself daily, having those check-ins is pivotal to building that capacity, to building that vibrational awareness and intelligence to make choices that come from their authentic self. So I hope this was helpful in understanding when you are performing, what the cost is when we perform, like that emotional drain that you feel. If you are burnt out right now, it could be because you're performing and you aren't actually being your authentic self. You aren't being vulnerable. You aren't operating from a place and space of true alignment and resonance. And if this is you, no shame. If it's something that you want to experience, hopefully some of the nuggets that we talked about today are helpful. If you feel like this is going to help someone, please share it, comment, subscribe, do all of the things. We're all about really helping one another as a community to be able to heal. And healing isn't just the release of old bad habits, patterns, etc. Healing looks like a reiterative process, coming back to things, because there are deeper levels to this. Healing is about really resonating with what makes you feel whole at the end of the day. And that is my hope for you, is that you get closer to wholeness, that we all complete our hero's journey at the end of the day. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey this Monday. I look forward to connecting with you next Monday. Until then, bye.